are live. Hey, Louise. Hey, Sue. Give it just a second here. Hi, Dolores. I've had some fun with these things the last couple of days. I'm going to play the intro, guys, and then we'll just get started. And here is our calendar. Now, it may take a second or two for it to connect up on Facebook. We have a Facebook viewer. If you're on Facebook, just remember that I cannot see who is actually speaking to me. Hi, Susan. If you're on YouTube, it will show me your name, so you can introduce yourself. We do have a Facebook viewer, so I'm saying hi to whoever that is. This is our November calendar, and we are kind of almost wrapping up the month before the holidays. Today is the 15th, we're doing this. On the 17th, your annual supporter file is coming out, and I will show you that in just a moment. It will not have a video. It doesn't need one. All it is print and cut and some layering, but it turned out gorgeous, and I'll show you that in a moment. My Zoomers, I sent out a Zoom and I'm waiting to hear from you guys. I've had a change of plans. I am going to be going to Florida this weekend and looking at a couple of homes. So I am going to have to pull that, and I sent you guys a message, and we'll cover that over on Patreon. If you're not a Patreon supporter, please consider supporting and getting access to all the files. If you are, I thank you very much. Couldn't have made it through all of the last couple of year crises that's been going on in the world without you. And especially my moderators. You guys are awesome. Thank you so very, very much for everything you do. All right, so we will be live next Monday, I think. If not, I will replace that live with a recorded tutorial for you guys. And that is the week of Thanksgiving. I know everybody will be super, super, super busy. Okay, and then you will have one on the 24th. That will be a recorded tutorial if it's needed. Otherwise, it will just be a file. Hi, Corinne. So that covers the calendar. So let me go over to my monitor. And this file has just been put up for you guys. You'll notice in the file, this is our spinner. This was inspired by B.B. Cameron and I want to say Scrappy Tales. I think it is Scrappy Tales. I may have typed it in wrong, but I believe it was Scrappy Tales. They did some dies, and I thought, why don't we do our own version in Designspace? So that's what I did, and created that for you guys here. So you'll notice in here, now you don't have to do it this way. This is totally up to you, but I wanted to pretty mine up with a lot of glitter. You might want to use foils and things like that. So I have two of them in this file right here for print then cut. And then I have two over here. So if you're on Android, you are going to have to open this on a computer. Or ask me and I will make a copy for you and send it to you. If all you have is Android, let me know and I will take the print and cuts out, and you can flatten your own guys over here. You'll just have to come in and unhide these last two layers, and then you'll need to cut those to get your colors into that. Well, actually, you will only need this one color. You would have to unflatten it so that you would have your colors. Nope, you need both to get yours in there. With the print and cut, you don't need that because we're going to be using that print and cut as our base to glue all of our pretty foil or glitter pieces onto. Hi, Tina. So that is what we have in here. Now, that being said, I put this envelope in here, guys, but this card is very thick. This envelope may not work, but what you can do is put another score line right here down this side here, and then another one the same distance down this line, and that will give it some dimension. I believe there's enough width for you to do that for this card to fit. If it doesn't, put your score line on each side, put a long score line on each side of this score line, fold it over, and then you can always put a decorative strip down the back, something that says Merry Christmas or something like that, printed on a piece of paper, and fold that up into your envelope, make it part of your envelope, and that will give it some depth for this card to fit in. So I wanted to make sure you knew that, but that will get you started on your envelope. Now, you can swap this out for a Christmas tree. I was going to originally do an angel, and then everybody has been going crazy over nutcracker, so I just went ahead and changed out to the nutcracker. So you can do an angel in here. You can do a Christmas tree. You can do Santa Claus. You can do the word. You can do a word like a vertical word like Noel. There are several things you can do. You just need to keep in mind that this needs to fit in here freely. You need to have enough space on each side because it's going to swing a little bit. You want to give it a little bit of extra room on each side so that it can spin, because you're going to put it in the envelope, and I'll show you in just a moment. You're going to turn your cord so that when they pull it out of the envelope, he spins, and then he will dangle from that point. Okay? So make sure that you are checking that before when you change these images out. And of course, all of this stuff down here can be changed out. You can just unflatten this. You have or either create another inset here for this piece. So you have that. All of these gray pieces, guys, I cut from white craft board. You're going to need something heavier than cardstock, or your card is just going to fall over. Unless you just do print and cut. If you just do print and cut, you're going to be fine with regular cardstock. But if you start layering all these layers of glitter and foils and all of that stuff on top by cutting these pieces over here to layer on top, your card's going to get heavy, okay? And especially when it starts spinning, and it's going to fall over. So I cut this from craft board for mine because I was doing all of that, and it may be a little bit of overkill, but I would definitely say at least poster board, okay? At least poster board is what you're going to need on that. And as always, if anybody has design space questions, guys, ask at any time. It doesn't have to be about this project. It can be any project or anything, any area that you're struggling in. Ask your questions and we'll help you out, okay? So that is that file. So let me pop over to the overhead, and before I forget, show you Wednesday's annual supporter file. And some of you may have seen it in the photos I posted already, but I did like a little dream catcher, and it's all cardstock, and then I decorated it up with some Nuvo drops. And I was kind of hesitant about it, but after I got it together, I hung it up in my craft room, and I'm really, really, really loving this. Love, love, love. Tonic Studios did a die set, which they're a lot smaller than that, and I thought, hey, I think I'll redo one of the mandalas and Cricut Designspace and make my own so that I can size it up or down, make it larger or smaller. So a lot of fun there for you guys on that one coming on Wednesday if you're an annual supporter. And if you're an annual supporter, if you're not an annual supporter and you want to become one, you can do that. It will save you 15%. So make sure that you know about that. So here is the card, and this was my mock-up, so don't pay attention to any of the little boo-boos I did. I've already corrected those. And you're going to twist this guy, and then you're going to flatten it down. Like I said, once it's flattened down, it's still thick. It's about ½ inch thick, guys, at the base. So make sure that you're aware of that. Make sure that your envelope is going to fit. Or you can make a pretty box for it, okay? But when you take it out, and it's not going to show on this camera because I don't have a straightforward camera for you guys to see this on when I go on YouTube. But when you twist it and you let it go, he spins. You can see him spinning there. And then the card will stand up on a table or anything that they want to use it on. All right, so like I said, I pre-assembled some just to save us some time because we got a lot of little bitty pieces. You have 2 of these in your file, and you're just going to fold them accordion style all the way down on all of the scores. So one's going to be a mountain fold, one's ballet, blah, 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 all the way across. You're going to do that to both of those pieces. Then you have another one, and you're going to mountain fold on the part that has the hole in it, and then you're going to valley fold the other 2 up, okay? So it's going to look like an M or a W. It doesn't matter because you'll be able to flip it the way it needs to go. And then you have one piece like this, and it looks like this when it's not folded. And you're just going to accordion fold that as well, okay? And then you're going to layer up all of your pretty pieces, like so. Got that? And then I already put the frame on this one. And like I said, I use craft board, poster board at a minimum, but craft board, I know it's thick, but it works better. And then you have this one. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue that, and then I'll show you, because I don't want you to goof up your nutcracker, because I almost goofed mine up by starting with the wrong pieces on the other one. So you're just going to take that and you're going to place it right on top of the other one. Get it lined up really, really good. And let that sit for a second and dry. Okay. And while that's drying, I'm going to take my other accordion folded piece here. It doesn't matter which way you put this on. It really doesn't matter. I did it with this fold to the front or back, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. It's barely going to be seen except from the side anyway. And then you're just going to place it down this side. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just try to get both of them even this way. But if one's a little higher than the other, or one's not going to matter. As long as it doesn't show from the front or from the back. I just find it easier just to press that down and hold it for a second and let that glue grab. Yes, 2 bases are the craft board, Susan, and then the other 2 red pieces in the file are your pretty pieces. Okay, so you can literally put these on your craft board first, but it's easier if you put your pretty piece, because I bent mine trying to get it to go like I wanted it. So it's easier to put your pretty piece on that craft board before you put the base together, and then put the pieces onto that. That's the way that I found it easiest. Then you're going to take this piece here, and I like this part, the end, to be up towards the top of the card. Doesn't really matter, I don't think, but that's the way I did it. And I'm just going to bring it in, and you want it to be flush with the bottom of this piece. It has to be flush right here, okay? So that your card doesn't wobble. So you can stand it up and push that down to the table. That way you know that it's flush, okay? Give that a second to dry. And while that's drying, because I don't want to be pulling on it while we're trying to put this piece on, so we're going to work on our spinner piece. And now I have a big piece of twine here. You don't need near this much. It's just easier for me to work with a bigger piece than it is a teeny tiny piece of twine. So I'm just going to, what I've done on mine is I usually have Scotch tape, but I couldn't find my Scotch tape. So I just put a little dab of glue on my twine and secured it, and then I cut it so that it gives me a sharp point, almost like a shoelace. Okay? And I do that on both ends. And then I'm going to come up from the bottom. Okay? And then I'm just going to go right around the base. Just going to hold that out of the way. And then I'm going to come, it doesn't even matter. You can make a loop like this. Just make a loop. Probably easier to explain. Once you have your loop, so you've put that piece in, you're just going to take that loop and put it around to the back and pull this tight. Okay? And then I'm going to take the shorter tail and I'm going to tie me a knot. Right down to the base of the card. Same way that I put my feathers on my dream catcher. I just tied a knot. I'm just going to double that. All right. Everybody catch that? So it's going to look like this when you're done. This is the top of your card, and then at the bottom you're going to have a knot where it's gone through. Okay. Now I'm just going to take a dab of glue and put right on that knot, just like I did for the other pieces, just to make them stiff on the end. And then I'm just going to snip it off really short on that shortest tail. Okay. Because I don't want that dangling down where I can see it in the card. And you can just kind of press that flat. Is everybody with me? The accordion folds for the sides, Susan, are also, everything in gray is craft board, is what I used. Because I didn't have a piece of the white poster board, I used craft board. And it's a little heavy, but it's a nice card. It's very substantial. And this part is really heavy with all that glitter on both sides. So it was good because I'm not fighting that card. I can stand it anywhere and it doesn't fall over. Even if he's swinging, it doesn't fall over. So that's what you want to keep in mind. If the card's falling over, your guts of your card are too light. Hey, Marianne. So now we have all of those pieces on. Now we're going to take this piece right here, and I want it to look like an M, okay? Or you want your knot to the bottom, however you want to look at it. And we're going to place it right up here in this square knot cutout area at the top. And we're just going to glue that down. Don't worry, just make sure that your cord that's hanging down is as long as the opening, and then you won't have to worry about if it's too short or too long, because you're going to be able to trim it off, but you can't stretch it. So make sure that you've got plenty of room there. And then we're going to take this piece here, our next piece, the one we put the craft board on the back of, the other one, and we're going to glue this base piece the same exact way right to the bottom. And when you put this piece on, you shouldn't be able to see it on the sides. If you do, just take your scissors and trim it off. It should be fine. I had to doctor my piece. I've got glitter everywhere. I had to doctor my piece up a little bit, and then I fixed the file for you guys, so it should be fine. I had one little one that was out of place. So then the card should be looking like this. Okay, you got your accordion down the middle. All right, glued right there, and it sits flush on the bottom for each one. Don't glue your side panels yet. You want to glue the top first. So we're just going to bring that up, and we're going to stick that one together right there. Oh, you're welcome, Susan. All right. So we're going to let that dry for a minute before we start pulling on the sides because we don't want to pull the top and the bottom apart. So while that's drying, we're going to work on this guy right here. I've already done one just to save us some time. See how much prettier he is than the print and cut? But this is our guide piece. So that's why I did it that way. Now, if you don't need a guide, you can cut your pieces from your pretty paper, your cardstocks, your foils, whatever it is that you want to use. And then you can just cut a solid color here. But I just did the print and cut just to make it easier for you guys on camera. And start with the top and work down, because once you start putting these pieces on and they interlock back together, if any of it's hanging off at the back, it won't matter at the end if they don't match up. It's easier just to trim off the base than it is to try to get the curvature of the hat. Then you've got your twine in there and everything else, and it just makes it a little bit more difficult. Okay, so the two pieces at the bottom are the easiest to trim. So work from the top down. We're going to start with this hat. And make sure that you get that on nice and straight. Okay, and I did that from black glitter on that one. And then you've got this teeny tiny piece of blue. And I did that from blue glitter. And I'm just putting it in my tweezers. I found this to be the easiest. And put a little dab of glue on each end. And then place it up on the hat. And then pull my tweezers out. Now I am using Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive Clear Drying Glue from Tonic Studios. Guys, the reason I'm using this, I use this on a lot of my glitter, is because art glitter glue dries matte and clear. And it dulls. If it squishes out, it dulls your glitter, and barely glued will as well. But this dries clear, but it's shiny, so it doesn't dull my glitter. And I can tell you, I squished out a big place right down here, and it did not affect my glitter at all. So just so you know that, and I get that from Tonic Studios. If you guys need a link, let me know. I have one on my link tree, and you can get it there as well. So next, I lost a piece. Oh, there it is. We're going to start with his hair. And they're going to interlock right up here at the top at the hat. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on there. And it does take a little bit longer for this stuff to dry on glitter, but it is what it is, right? It's pretty, so we use it anyway. Yeah, the gray is craft board, Dolores. And then we're going to take his hair from the other side. Now, there are two ways to go about this. You could put his mustache in first, but if you work quick and your glue doesn't dry very quickly, you still have some wiggle room to get that mustache in there in case the hair pieces are off a little bit. So you're just going to inlay those right inside. All right. That's where we're at. He's looking good. I forgot my other hat piece. I just work with what I pick up, but you have to be careful because some pieces you cannot put down yet. I almost put my red beard on mine. It's the curved pieces go down on this. So the widest part is at the top. A little bit of glue squishing out. So his hat's finished. The hair, the mustache, don't go to the beard. Next, you need to put the gold shirt on. And don't worry, you'll still have your guide. You can look in the file, or you can come back and look at the video. You know what? I did mirror these guys in the file, but I think I put them on wrong because he's not wanting to line up. Get over there. It's okay. There we go. So now we've got that piece on. Now you want to do the pants. And those are going to be right up against that base right there. I don't want to glue them to the table here. Then you can put this red part of the jacket on. And his belt. And that's another teeny tiny piece. Tweezers help. And this belt piece, because you can't see it, it goes on that first one at his waist there. Just going to press that one down. And then we're going to get these sleeves. It looks like a lot, and I just did one to help save time, but it really goes together pretty quick. Doing the nutcracker takes longer than the rest of the card does. And then we have these two pieces. That go on top there. He's pretty. You guys got quiet on me. And you can do his beard now too. Once that red piece of the jacket goes down, you can do the beard. And I cut this out of some embossed paper, some pearl paper that I got from Tonic. I thought that would be cute for the beards. And you're just going to scoot that up to meet and cover the white part that's on your print cut. You can see it at the top, so just put it up high enough to cover that. And then you've got his boots or his feet. Now one side of this is very narrow and the other side is, you can see it's more rounded, a little bit thicker. That goes to the inside, so it does matter. There is a right and a left. Okay, the wider part goes to the inside. Some glue off my hands. I was surprised to find this one in Designspace. I saw several that I liked, but then I ran across this. Now, that being said, guys, if you don't like the colors that I picked, you can go in and you can unflatten those and change the color, because I flattened a layered image. So you can change the colors of the image if you want to swap some things around. You can most certainly do that. And then the top of his boots, or the front of his boots, I should say. It's just much easier with tweezers. Right over his feet. Doesn't go all the way down, it just goes over and shows his feet. And then we have the hands, and I found it easier just to put glue on the hands and then put this piece on with tweezers. I'm just going to push it right up against that gold piece, and that's going to help hold it while it dries. That's all there is to it. So now, while this piece is drying, I'm going to take my other one that's already dry. So if you do one and then do the other while one's drying, you can work on this one. And I'm going to use a couple of glue dots. You can use whatever you have, double-sided tape, masking tape, whatever it is that you want. And I'm just going to put a couple in here. To help hold my twine. That's all I'm doing. And again, you can use masking tape, whatever it is that you want. I'm going to bring my card back over. Remember, we haven't done the sides yet. And just going to bring this guy in and lay him down. And I just want to give it maybe about an inch from the top. You can mash your card down. I think I bumped the camera. I'm sorry, guys. Don't want to make anybody seasick. You can just kind of pull those out to the side just a little bit and place him right in the center and give that about an inch maybe. You just want to make sure that his feet are not going to... I'm just going to hold that down on the table and then lay the twine in. And then I'm just going to trim this off. Just like that. And then I'm going to put glue on my other one, who's still a little bit soft. Let yours dry, and it'll be easier to work with. Because see, my glue's not drying. His leg wiggled off. There we go. Back up there. And then we're going to align these. Just push that out of the way. Just going to line them up with your twine to the top. It's supposed to be in that glue dot. There we go. And it's going to take a minute for this glue to grab. So mine may come apart while I'm working, but make sure you get yours dry before you move to the next step. Yeah, the blinged out guy is really, that's the way to go. It makes a pretty card. So I'm just going to let that kind of sit and dry for a second. And while that's drying together, I'm going to come over here and now I'm just going to go down this side and we're going to glue it in. I'm just going to hold it for a second. Just bringing that side up and letting it glue. let the glue set. Make sure it's inside your frame, not squishing out somewhere else. Give it a good press. While that's drying, do the other side. Okay. And I'm just going to keep pressing on him. Usually I use my art glitter glue and it's already grabbed by now, but these other glues, some of them are squishy. I got offline a little bit. Make sure you get yours good and lined up. Okay, and you can do your twine on him before and then do your knot. Totally up to you. I like to do mine ahead of time, but you can work it either way, whatever's easiest for you. And I'm just going to bring that in. Just going to press it. Press it flat. I'm not stuck yet. You don't want to play with this bottom piece too much until after these pieces dry. Because you'll just pull them apart, and that's what I'm doing here. And then this goes on the front. Can't play with them too much, gluing glitter to glitter, but you guys get the idea. And then decide where you want your holly to go. See, it's going to scoot. You guys won't have to worry about that because you won't be doing a live video. You can let yours sit and dry one piece at a time. And if you're using the foils, make sure that you don't use too much glue. You don't want it to bubble up. And then I'm going to place this one. Not putting glue up here. I don't want it to be hanging over the top. But that is all there is to it. It's done, it's ready, and you can shape the bottom. Once everything dries, you can come in and open this back out, and what you want to do is push these two together and then push this in. Give it some and pull it out and push it in a couple of times so it gets some memory, and then it stands, okay, without any problem. So just play with it, and you're going to get a little curve into the back piece, okay? There's going to be a little bit of a curve into this, and the front is going to be straight, and that's going to help it stand. So right here at your base, just give it a little curve. All right. Yay! I'm glad you guys like it. And you can change it again out any of the images that you want. See, I'm curling up. You have to hold all of these while they dry. Does anybody have any other questions on Designspace? Any questions about the file? I have another Facebook viewer. Somebody said hi. Something looks fun and cute. I just saw that. Don't know who said it, but thank you, thank you. Lots of fun. And again, you can use any images that you want to use, guys. The base will stay the same and your image will change. Make sure your image isn't too wide for the cutout. Yes, you can use another glue on the sentiment and the holly if you want to. Dolores, you sure can. I usually use art glitter glue, like I said, but with these tiny pieces, I knew I was going to have glue squishing out, and I know that it would dull my finish, so that's why I used the Nuvo glue. It just takes longer to dry, but it does dry shiny, and it doesn't affect my glitter if it squishes out. Oh, thanks, Sue. The file was actually set up that way, Sue, and I just did that. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys, I did use black and white Nuvo drops. I don't know if you can see them on here. I did his eyebrows in white Nuvo drops and his eyeballs in black Nuvo drops, just to give them some dimension up off of the face. I don't know if you can you see it there? Maybe it'll focus on them. So, and you want to do that last and let it dry on both sides, but you can see. Give it that little bit of a shine, a little extra step. I gotta glue that a little bit better. This was my mock-up. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. Thank you to my moderators. Thank you to all my supporters. I greatly appreciate you. If you're not a supporter, please consider support. Click on that Patreon link down below and join us. Get all the files. And let's see, we're Zooming. Got the dream catcher coming on Wednesday, and Zooming has been postponed, but I have a project for you guys. If you'll go over on Patreon, you'll see that. And I know there's a slight lag, so if anybody has any questions, I'm going to give it a second. Oh, you're very welcome, Dolores. All right, guys. You guys have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Get ready for Thanksgiving. It's on the way. It's knocking on the door. We can't stop it. It's here. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a great night. Thanks, everybody.